Don't tell anyone. That's just what we're going to do.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about getting names. It's frustrating. Just get back to it.
I know.
Well, I sent my parents this morning. That's right.
Oh, did you?
I found it from the very
Yeah.
I sent it to my daughter. I'm not confident for regional preference, which is texture, not necessarily color type of thing. Oh, I'll send it to them. Putting it on that side's actually called microphone.
our song of sanctuary, that I welcome you all here this Shabbat morning into our sanctuary to join together as community, to celebrate Shabbat, to celebrate with a young man as he becomes a bar mitzvah, and for a number in our congregation to also take the opportunity to remember and to recall a loved one. Whatever brings you into shul this morning, we hope that the next few hours brings you peace and joy and celebration, but most of all, brings you meaning. We also want to take a moment to welcome those that are not with us physically in the sanctuary, but are joining us through the live streaming of our services. We know that's an ever-growing community, and we're so grateful that we're able to offer the service and connect so many, whether you be local and physically can't get to synagogue, or whether you be part of our growing international community. It's lovely to have you with us, joining us for Shabbat. All is set and all is ready, but before we progress into our service and invite our bar mitzvah up onto the bimah, before we do that, I have a word or two of explanation as well as an apology in advance. There is a bit of a lurgy going around Temple Beth Israel at the moment. It has felled our cantor and our song leader, and it is grasping at our ankles for Rhonda and I. And so we apologize for our croaky voices in advance, but we're so glad that we could still be here for Shabbat. We know it's not just a TBI, because we know it's been through your family as well, and we know so glad that you have a full front bench able to join us. The other thing I do want to mention, because I'm sure you're going to start whispering and wondering, despite the mother of our bar mitzvah's sincere desire to put up baby photos of her son on that screen throughout the service, a couple of naked photos of him in the bath and all those sort of things, that screen is not actually part of our service. That's not a new minhag here at TBI. It is just a symbol of the fact that tomorrow we'll be hosting the world premiere of the Kristallnacht cantata, which is not only a musical wonder piece, a wonderful new musical piece, but also has a series of visual imagery and the like. So it is on our bimmer in advance of that, but we'll not be showing naked baby photos of our bar mitzvah. So with all of those explanations offered, and all of that context given, the only thing that is left, once he gets a kiss from a dear friend, is to invite our bar mitzvah up onto the bimah, together with his mother and father, for the presentation of his talit.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו ויעטוף בציצית.
Amen. Mazel tov. The other mysteries of where the rest of the bar mitzvah pants have disappeared to. It's been a long time since there have been short pants on the bimmer at Temple Beth Israel. Rabbi Levi, didn't you tell me the first time you wore long pants to synagogue was on your bar mitzvah? First time. Incredible. We continue with our prayer for health, which we certainly need, beginning on page 194. Please join me in the words of Asher Yatzar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatza et adam b'chokhmah uvarah bo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadua lifnei kiseh kvodecha she'im yipateach echad mehem o yisatem echad mehem אי אפשר להתקיים לעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות.
Shema
ניסים בכל יום. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לסבכי בינה לבבכם בין יום ובין לילה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוגע בעברים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם ברכה הארץ על המים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ארומים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן לעייף כוח.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיני ותנומה מאף אפי.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בן חורין.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטה ישראל בתפארה.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעשות דברי תורה. אמן. הרב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ופי עמך בית ישראל, והנה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודע שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who teaches your Torah to your people Israel. Page 206.
To give grudgingly, reluctantly, or with regret. To give less than one should, but with grace. To give what one should, but only after being asked. To give before one is asked. To give without knowing who will receive it, although the recipient knows the identity of the giver. to give without making known one's identity, to give so that neither giver nor receiver knows the identity of the other, to help another to become self-supporting by means of a gift, a loan, or by finding employment for the one in need.
And so, having offered our words of study, both those from the Talmud and those from the Rambam, we move forward to page 209 and close our Brachot HaShachar, our morning blessings, with an alternative Kaddish de Rabbanan. Please join me in the English at the top of the page. For our teachers and their students, and the students of their students, we ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say, Amen. And for those who study Torah here and everywhere, may they be blessed with all they need, and let us say, Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say, Amen. We turn forward to our Sukkah de Zimra, to our verses of Psalm and Psalm, beginning with the words of Baruch She'amar on the top of page 212.
Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam,
Baruch Hu,
Baruch Aseh Bereshit,
Baruch Omer Yosef,
Baruch Ozer U'Mekayem,
Baruch V'Achem Ha'aretz,
Baruch V'Achem Ha'briot,
Baruch Meshalem Zachar Tov Lireyav,
Baruch Chai La'ad, V'Kayam La'netzach,
Baruch Bodeh U'Matzil, Baruch Shemo.
With songs of praise, we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, for you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe, praised and glorious, ruler. Your name is eternal.
Baruch atah Adonai, melech ulal v'tishbachot. On page 214, Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat.
Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov leVodot Adonai, U'lezamer Shivcha Elyon, U'lezamer Shivcha Elyon. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov leVodot Adonai, U'lezamer Shivcha Elyon, U'lezamer Shivcha Elyon.
להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשו ועלינה, ולעלי היגיון בקינות.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשבחה עליון, ולזמר לשבחה עליון.
כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך אורנן. מאוד עלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש רע לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין זאת.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשבחה
215, Psalm 145, Ashrei.
אשרי אשרי ביתך, עוד יחלוך הסלם.
אשרי העם שקראו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו.
תהילה לדוד, ארמים חורי המלך, ברכה שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך, אדוני שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני מולו מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר.
גדולתו ישלח מעשיך, ומורתך יגידו.
חדר ועוד חודך, דברי נפתך עשיך.
ועשו נורתך יאמרו, גדולתך ספרנה.
זכרם טובך יביאו, וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, איך אלוהינו דוח חסד.
טוב אדוני לעקוב, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, חסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וכבודך ידברו.
והודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו, וכבוד אדם מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכופים.
עיני כל אלך יספרו, ונתן לכם את עולם ביתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומסביר לכל רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, חסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יראה יעשה, בעת שאתה משמע והושיעם.
שומע אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל השעים ישמיע.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, ויברך על כל בשר כשם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
We wish Levi Mazel Tov as she becomes Bat Mitzvah /21 next week. We continue with Psalm 150 on page 18, 218.
Hallelujah.
our Sukkah to Zimra with the words of Yishtabach. Please join me in the Hebrew. Yishtabach Shimcha la'ad malkeinu, ha'el ha'melech ha'kadol ha'kadosh, v'shamayim u'va'aretz. Ki lacha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avoteinu, shir u'shbacha, halel v'zimra, oz memshala, netzach g'dula g'vura, tehila u'tferet, kedusha u'malchut, brachot v'odaot ma'ata v'ad olam, Baruch ata Adonai, el melech gadol batishvachot, el ha'odaot adon ha'niflaot, ha'bocher b'shirei zimra, melech elchei ha'olamim. Praise to you, sovereign of wonders, crowned in admiration, delighting in song, eternal in majesty. We rise on page 224 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Continue with the Yotzei Or on page 228. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzei Or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, ha'me'ir la'aretz dara aleichem v'rachamim, uv'tovo machadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'asei v'reshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, malha aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, va'al me'oreo she'asita yifa'aruch ha'sela, or chadash shel Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu me'hirav oro, Baruch ata Adonai, yotzeh ha'me'orot. On page 231.
Love your neighbour as you said. And light blinded we saw, thy inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch ata Adonai, habocher v'amo Yisrael, v'amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai.
ובלכתך בדרך, ובשבתך ובקומך. ושבתם לאות עבודך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת להם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף תרצכם. והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטולו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Page 240. Taken to our feet for the Amidah, which begins on page 242. As is our congregation's minhag, our tradition, we offer the first few blessings of this together as a community in song. But before we begin with the opening words, a kavanah from the facing page. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer does not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. Repair can water arid soil, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Our Amidah.
Adonai Shabbat Tivtach.
Elohim
Continue with Kedushat Hayom and the sanctification of this day of Shabbat with the singing of Yismachu on the top of page 250.
Shabbat.
Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and the days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day, on this day. Shabbat, abide. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Ratzeh Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, tfiladam ba'avat tekabel, v'tihel ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'iran avod, ever-present one. May we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and in our prayers. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. We turn forward to page 257 and offer the words of our Hoda'ah. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination, we humble ourselves as we say,
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and our future hope. Our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may not live by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lachem el hodot. Blessed you, Eternal One. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. And we do so now with the words of Sim Shalom on page 258.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha, leima chesed lerachamim lerachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, v'acheinu avinu kulanu kecha, ve'obanecha,
we turn forward in our service to Seder Kriyat Torah Shabbat, the order of reading Torah on this Shabbat day. The Torah service begins on page 362. 362.
I am your eternal God, who led you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Lo yehiyeh lecha Elohim acharim al panai. You shall have no other gods besides me. Lo tisa et shem Adonai Elohecha lashav. You shall not swear falsely by the name of Adonai your God. Zachor et yom hashabbat lekodsho. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Honor your father and your mother. Lo tiltzach, you should not murder. Lo tin'af, you should not commit adultery. Lo tignov, you should not steal. Lo ta'aneh bre'acha et shaker, you should not bear false witness against your neighbor. Lo tachmod, you should not covet.
God
be seated. So our bar mitzvah was a little intimidated by the responsibility of carrying a heavy Torah around the congregation, which is why he did it so slowly. If I was intimidated, I would have got it around and back as quick as possible, but you took your time. That's a lovely thing to do. My friends, we are continuing with the telling of our people's tale, moving our way through the book of Genesis. We are in Parashat Vayetzer, which begins in chapter 28 of the book of Bereshit. Genesis chapter 28, verse 10. If you want to follow along, we're going to be on page 194 in the Plough Chumash, which is the larger blue book under a good many of your chairs. And as we are in the first year of our triennial reading cycle, for those who aren't with us, we'll be reading from the start of the Sidra, as we have been since Simchat Torah. In welcoming people to Shul this morning, I recognize that many things bring people to community. Some come just to celebrate Shabbat, some come to celebrate Simcha, others come to remember loved ones. But this Shabbat is a particularly significant one for us at TBI, because this past week on Thursday, we together with I suppose a global community of volunteer a global network of volunteer communities celebrated International Volunteer Day. We cannot do the many myriad of things we do as a community if it wasn't for the extraordinary nature of volunteering in our congregation. The incredible number of men, women, children who give of their time, of their energy, of their creativity to help us be the community that we are. And last night we had an opportunity through our community dinner to celebrate a good many of our volunteers. We had a beautiful community dinner in Sloan Hall. We had an opportunity to hear a little bit from John about his volunteering, which finished with a pretty powerful charge at the end. A very powerful charge, which I think is still ringing in a number of our ears, into how we can make a difference to this world, and how fortunate we are to be living in this country, to have the opportunities that we have, and that we shouldn't take them for granted. We should not take them for granted for a moment. So we want to continue to recognize that through our first series of Aliyot this morning. Ordinarily, we would take the opportunity with our first and second Aliyah to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries. We've pushed a number of those off to next week, and so without warning, because we just wanted to see who was going to be in shul this morning, we want to take an opportunity to recognize our volunteers. Now, in doing that, I want to remind everyone that volunteering takes place in many different forms. There are those people who volunteer by sitting on committees, being part of our board or a subcommittee, or coming during the week to any number of meetings that I seem to be going from each hour of the day. There are those that volunteer by giving their time and their professional services. There are those who volunteer by giving their love of tradition and song to singing in our choirs and bringing festivity to our congregation. There are those who volunteer by helping with our good works, our social justice initiatives, whether it be feeding the hungry and homeless, whether it be helping those who are trying to settle in this country from asylum seeker or refugee backgrounds, or whether it be teaching Hebrew to disadvantaged children at the spectrum, at the peripheries of Israeli society through our Nourish, our Project Dignity, and our Click and Connect programs. There are any number of ways that you can volunteer at this community, and we take every single one of them as being of great value. So for our first Aliyah LeTorah, I would like to call to Torah every member of congregation who is in the room this morning who has volunteered in the last 7 days at Temple Beth Israel, between last Shabbat and this Shabbat. There's another Aliyah coming up. Those people are telling me that 7 days was too limited. No, I said, don't worry, there's another Aliyah coming after this. This is just the last 7 days I wanted to look at. And so our first Torah reader is Caroline. Oh, you brought your own yet. Let's show them where we're reading from first. It should be.
You just want to reach over?
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Barach banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'yatzeh Yaakov miBe'eshava vayalech Harana vayifka b'makom vayalen sham kiva hashemesh vayikach me'avnei hamakom vayishem meresh tav vayishkav b'makom hahu vayachalom vehinei sulam utzav atzah verosho megia hashamayma vehinei malachei Elohim olim ve'otim bo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'yarei l'olam natan mitzvoteinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, V'Leah, the Holy One, who blessed our forefathers and foremothers. Bless all of you who fill this bimmer in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of community, but most particularly in honor of the sacred work that you do to allow us to be the community that we are. When I invited and looked to this Aliyah and wanted to call people from the last 7 days, I have to be honest, I didn't anticipate this many people standing on this bimmer. And I think I have a pretty good sense of what goes on in this congregation, the works that we do from week to week. But clearly, it's been a far more productive week than I could possibly imagine. I was so focused on simchas and life cycle events and the like, while so many other things were happening. I want to thank you all for that which you've done in the last 7 days, but not just that which you've done in the last 7 days, but that which you do and continue to do to allow us to be the extraordinary community that we are. It is my privilege to be with Kantor Loom and Rabbi Ettlinger, the spiritual leaders of this congregation. But we know that this congregation is not about the three of us, but rather those who we lead and serve. And we thank you for joining us in that sacred partnership. May God bless you. May God bless all that are dear to you. But most particularly, may God continue to bless the works of your hands and your hearts. And to that we say, Amen. Amen. I'm going to invite you to step across. And now I'm a little nervous because I was counting on a few of you for the next Aliyah. So if these were the last 7, I'd like to invite for our next Aliyah anyone in addition to these people who have volunteered at Temple Beth Israel in the last year. Since last time we celebrated Volunteer Shabbat. If I call you to Torah, I can see a few more there. Yes, I'm going to start calling people out by name. You can bring your grandchild with you. You feed him on the bimmer.
It's been done before.
Grandchildren should not keep us from Torah. They should come with us to Torah.
Yes.
We're going to continue with the reading. You are continuing our reading. Thank you very much. Let's show you where we're reading from, Carla. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher בחר banu mikol ha'amim ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch Atah Adonai נותן התורה.
Amen. Get on that side. I'll just sneak up on the wrong side.
Amen. Vehine Adonai nitzav alav vayomar ani Adonai Elohei Avraham Avika Elohei Yitzchak haaretz asher ata שוכב עליה, לך אתננה וזרעך, והיה זרעך כעפר הארץ, ופרצת ימה וקדמה וצפונה ונגבה, ונברחו בך כל מצפחות האדמה וזרעך. והנה אנוכי עמך, ושמרתיך בכל אשר תלך, והשיבותיך אל האדמה הזאת, כי לא אעזבך עד אשר אם עשיתי את אשר דיברתי לך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם אתה בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Rishaberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, V'Leah, the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers. Also bless all of you who have joined together on the Bima to complete our circle of volunteers. And allow us this week when we join together with all volunteer-based communities across the world to recognize the fact that it is our communities, the many men and women that lend their hands to our good works that allow us to be that which we are. And so we thank you for all that you've done. We also kind of thank you in advance for that which you're going to continue to do. Not that we take it for granted, but that we're so incredibly grateful for it. And we ask that God bless each and every one of you. God bless all those that are dear to you. That God give you the strength and the health to continue to do that which gives you such joy and such happiness. And we say together, V'nomar Amen. We also use this opportunity while you're on the Bima, because I'm not sure when you're leaving. Thursday, so before next Shabbat. So to also wish Homi and Nisiya Tova as she heads over to Europe as part of being an award recipient at our congregation, is going on a study trip to Europe to visit with some communities, to investigate some things that might be part of our future, and also to do some good learning at Limud UK. I'm very, very, very jealous, but I wish you a Nisiya Tova and a great trip. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and invite you to around as we turn to our third Aliyah and take a moment to recognize that not everyone, as I said, is here in celebration of Shabbat, that there are some within our congregation who are here also remembering a loved one. And so for our third Aliyah this morning, I'd like to call to Torah all of those who are in Shul out of remembrance, in Shul who would like to remember someone who they have loved and whom they have lost. So the yad has passed to Ruja. Reading Torah is another way you can volunteer at the congregation. I'm going to show you where we're reading from. Baruch Adonai Mevarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaikatz Yaakov Mishnato Vayomer Ahen Shem Adonai B'makom hazeh Ve'anohi lo yadati Vayira va'omar Ma manorah hamakom hazeh ein zeh ki im beit Elohim v'zeh sha'ar hashamayim vayishkem Yaakov baboker vayikach et ha'even asher sam mera'ashato וישם אותה מצבה ויצחק שמן על ראשה ויקרא את שם המקום ההוא בית אל ואולם לוז שם העיר לראשונה.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah l'temed v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imatenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Valeah. May the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers bless the four of you who come to Torah today, not in celebration of Shabbat, not in celebration of Simcha, but in memory of a loved one. And we hope that by connecting with this ancient tradition, by taking these few moments out of your Shabbat morning to pause and remember those who have lived and those who you have lost, that you're able to focus not on that sense of loss, but rather on that wonderful beauty of the life that they shared with you and the blessings that they gave you. Because if you can do that, if you can focus on the gifts of their life, then you will go a long way to ensuring that their memory is truly for a blessing. And that's all we can ever hope for those that we've lost, is that their legacy continue to be a blessing, and that we go about our lives, living our lives as they would on their very best days. We hope that God bless you, that God bless all those that are dear to you. But on this Shabbat of memory for you, we particularly hope that God bless the memory of those who you represent on this bima. And we say together, V'nomar, Amen. So as we move the Torah over to the side of the bima, and we begin to transition to a series of aliyot in celebration of this young man's bar mitzvah, before we begin to call to Torah his family and friends, we're going to take a moment to hear some words of Torah from him. So up you come, sir. The bima is yours.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
In a few moments, I'm going to read from the Torah for the first time and formally become a bar mitzvah. For those of you less familiar with the nature of our services at TBI, that is the necessary part of the service that precedes the Kiddush. But don't worry, we'll get to the Kiddush soon. Before then, Rabbi Gersh has asked me to explain a little bit about my Torah portions and the lessons it has taught me. My parasha, Parashat Vayetze, begins with Jacob leaving his hometown of Beersheba and journeying to Haran. On the way, he encounters the place and sleeps there, dreaming of a ladder connecting heaven and earth with angels climbing and descending on it. In Haran, Jacob stays with and works for his uncle Laban, tending Laban's sheep. Laban agrees to give him his younger daughter Rachel, whom Jacob loves, in marriage, in return for 7 years of labour. But on the wedding night, Laban gives him his elder daughter Leah. Instead, a deception Jacob discovers only in the morning. Jacob marries Rachel too a week later, after agreeing to work another 7 years for Laban. Then, once married to these two sisters, things get really busy. Leah gives birth to 6 sons and a daughter, while Rachel remains barren. Rachel gives Jacob her handmaid Bilhah as a wife to bear children in her stead, and 2 more sons are born. Leah does the same with her handmaid Zilpah. By then, Jacob has been in Haran for 14 years and wishes to return home, but Laban persuades him to remain, now offering him sheep in return for his labour. Jacob prospers, despite Laban's repeated attempts to swindle him. After 6 years, Jacob finally leaves Haran in stealth, fearing that Laban would prevent him from leaving with the family and property for which he laboured. It was all very dramatic. When I read over my portion and learnt about all the family drama, I decided that there was one theme or idea that kept recurring: the idea of perseverance. Perseverance because Jacob worked really hard after Laban tricked him, but because he really wanted to marry Rachel, he persevered and did the extra 7 years of labour. Even though things didn't initially work out in his favour, he made up his mind and decided to try his hardest, and he ended up succeeding. Jacob had a history of not being a nice person, like when he stole his brother's birthright. My parasha shows us that Jacob changed as a person by persevering and then got what he wanted. This is an important lesson because even if something does not go in your favour, you can still try your hardest, not give up, and then succeed, and see that it's not the end of the world. This relates to a lot of things in life, and even though I haven't married 2 sisters, and don't plan to, I can still see that perseverance is a quality to have. I've not only learnt this from Torah, but also through my other great passion, sport. There are many athletes who have had to persevere in order to achieve their goals. One example is Marlon Pickett from Richmond, who made his debut on the grand final in front of 100,000 people plus a lot of people watching on TV. As a younger person, he made a lot of bad choices and got arrested for burglary and went to jail. He was in the local jail football club, and he was just out skilling everyone. Through his hard work and perseverance, when he finally got out of jail, he was a very talented and determined footballer. He eventually got drafted to Richmond, played extremely well in their VFL Grand Final, and helped his team to win the premiership, and got the best on ground. Because of his commitment to the club, he got to play in the AFL Grand Final later that week, and achieved a great win by helping his team win the premiership. His perseverance was so great that it even impressed a Hawk supporter like me. Another great example of this important characteristic can be seen in the perseverance of Roger Federer. He's one of the greatest players ever, who is now in his late 30s, older than most players on the tour. He's had several injuries over the past few years. In 2016, he had not won a Grand Slam in 4 years. He then injured his knee and had major surgery to end his year. In 2017, he worked extra hard to win the Australian Open that summer. He now wins many matches, working extra hard as one of the older players while still remaining competitive. Now, I appreciate that I'm neither Jacob nor Marlian or Roger, but I also think that I'm capable of displaying a little perseverance from time to time. In fact, it was perseverance that really allowed me to be standing here today. I put hard work into all this preparation for my bar mitzvah. I didn't know all the blessings or my parasha, but when I started my lessons at the beginning of the year, I worked hard enough to be here today. Now that I'm becoming a bar mitzvah, I hope that I won't let go of the lessons I learned on this journey. I also hope that I continue to display the quality of perseverance that I've come to respect in Jacob and in so many of my sporting role models. If I can do this, then I think I will go a long way to demonstrating what it means to be a bar mitzvah, an adult in Jewish tradition. Shabbat Shalom.
And so we turn to a series of aliyot. Don't go too far away. A series of aliyot in honor of your bar mitzvah. And we begin that by calling to Torah your aunt and uncle. Yamdu LaTorah, Michal bat Yosef v'David ben Yosef. Call to Torah Karen and David. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher בחר banu mikol ha'amim ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. וירד יעקב נדר לאמור, אם יהיה אלוהים עמדי ושמעני בדרך הזה אשר אנוכי הולך ונתן לי לחם לאכול ובגד ללבוש ושבתי בשלום אל בית אבי והיה אדוני לי אלוהים והאבן הזאת אשר שמתי מצווה יהיה בית אלוהים וכל אשר תיתן לי אשר אסרנו לך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Yimotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, V'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers bless the two of you in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of community, in honor of family and friends, all of those who you represent on this bima, but most particularly in honor of this young man who's persevered. And I imagine, as I've come to know him, that the two of you have persevered as well, having to put up with his very unique personality. But that's the joy of family. And our hope is that as family, you have many more opportunities to celebrate with him, to celebrate with his parents and his brothers, and hopefully you have only the opportunity to move from simcha to simcha. We ask that God bless you, that God bless all those that are dear to you, and we say together, V'nomar, Amen. So we wish you mazel. You can wish them mazel tov too, by the way, sir. We continue with the celebration of family as we call to Torah the grandparents of our bar mitzvah. Yamdu LaTorah, Yosef ben Issachar, Aviva bat Raymond, Alisa bat Lavi. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Vaisa Yaakov Raglav Vayelech Alsa B'nei Kedem Vaya Vehine Be'ab Basadeh Vehine Sham Shlosha Edritzon Rovtim Aleha Ki Min Haber Hahiv Yeshku Hadarim Ve'even Gdola Al Pi Haber ונאספו שמה כל הדרים, וגללו את האבן מעל פי הבאר, והשקו את הצאן, והשיבו את האבן על פי הבאר למקומה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers bless the three of you. Also in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of family, in honor of a community, but most particularly in honor of this young man as he becomes a bar mitzvah. Oh, and during the week at the rehearsal, I asked him what it was that I could say about you, what the special blessing that I could offer to you was, and that was one of gratitude, of just being very grateful that all of you are here to support and celebrate this occasion with him, that you have been there to support him throughout his life, and please God, you'll continue in health to support him as he moves from this simcha to the next and the next and the next. We ask that God bless you, that God bless all those that are dear to you, and we say together, V'nomar, Amen. We move forward a generation and two as we call to Torah the rest of your immediate family. Yamdu Torah Yaal bat Yosef Vardimon ben Avraham, Joshua ben Vardimon Yael, Eli ben Vardimon Yael. You could have worn the Jewish meaning of that. You can't find it. Doesn't fit me. I'll read right from there. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
ויאמר להם יעקב אחי מאין אתם? ויאמרו מחרן אנחנו. ויאמר להם הידעתם את לבן בן אחו? ויאמרו ידענו. ויאמר להם השלום לו. ויאמרו שלום. והנה רחל בתו באה עם הצאן. ויאמר עוד היום גדול לו את האסף המקנה השקו הצאן וכי ראו. ויאמרו לא נאכל את אשר יאספו כל הדרים וגללו את האבן מעל פי הרבה והשכינו הצאן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers bless the four of you also in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of family, in honor of community, in honor of those that have been called to Torah before you, but most particularly on this Shabbat, in honor of he who will be called to Torah after you, as your younger brother and son become bar mitzvah. He spoke about perseverance, and you've already heard me joke about perseverance. But looking at the two of you and thinking about the three of you, I want to congratulate your parents on their perseverance. You've got no hair left. Bringing 3 children to Torah as a B'nai Mitzvah is an extraordinary accomplishment. Bringing your 3 sons to Torah is something next level. And you've done it so beautifully, supporting them all, each along the way, and particularly making this a unique journey for your youngest as Ali comes to Torah. The two of you, well, I asked him if you've been supportive, and he said that you've been present. And so we'll acknowledge the presence, but certainly the two of you have been incredibly supportive and encouraging along the way and helping him make the most of this journey. And we hope that the way in which you've done that, the way in which you've supported him and allowed him to make the most of the opportunities that are before him, are what you as a family will continue to do for each other, but particularly for Ali as Bar Mitzvah. And we ask that God bless you, that God bless all those that are dear to you, and we say together, V'nomar, Amen. Wish you Mazel Tov. Okay. Our Bar Mitzvah is going to go and have a seat while his parents shuffle around. His brother's giving him wardrobe advice. So you need to look at your talit if you're giving wardrobe advice. And we've asked our Bar Mitzvah to sit down so that he can actually accept the Aliyah Torah, the call up to Torah. Ya'amod LaTorah habar mitzvah, na'ar habar mitzvah hayom, Michael ben Vardimon ve'Yael.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
You got it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
עודנו מדברים ורחל באה עם הצאן אשר להביאה כי רעה היא ויהי כאשר ראה יעקב את רחל בת לבן אחי אמו וצאן לבן אחי אמו ויגש יעקב ויגל את האבן מעל פי הבאר ויסק את צאן לבן אחי אמו ויסק יעקב לרחל וישא את קולו ויבך ויגד יעקב לרחל כי אחי אביה הוא וכי בן רבקה הוא ותרוץ ותגד לאביה ויהי כשמע לבן את שמה יעקב בן אחתו וירץ לקראתו ויחבק לו ויסק לו והביאהו אל ביתו על פי ויספר ללבן את כל הדברים האלה ויאמר לבן אך עצמי ובשרי אתה וישב עמו חודש ימים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטל בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Matenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Matenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Valaya. By the Holy One who blessed our forefathers and foremothers, bless you, Ali, in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of community, in honor of family, in honor of friends, in honor of all of those that have been called to Torah before you, in honor of that giant sigh you just took when you finished that blessing, but most particularly in honor of earning the title of becoming Bar Mitzvah today, in following in the dugma, in the example set by your brothers who stand alongside of you, but most particularly in honor of that which you've given yourself. Now, I have to say that I loved the fact that you came to pick on this topic of perseverance. You've seen that I've loved it because I've referenced it in every single one of the blessings that have preceded you. And I want to suggest to you that you have demonstrated perseverance as well. Well, in part you have. You spoke about that in your Devar Torah. But you've also given me the opportunity to thank you for allowing me to find within myself the quality of perseverance. Because it's not every single bar mitzvah boy. It's not every single bar mitzvah boy who falls asleep on my couch in my office in the middle of a conversation. And it's particularly not every single bar mitzvah boy who did it twice. She was there 2 weeks in a row. School must have been tough. But I persevered. I spoke to you a lot about sport. And a lot about sport. And a little bit more about sport. And in the midst of that conversation, we found a connection to Torah. And as you laned your Torah and as you led the service, I hope that that connection that we found is something that doesn't leave you. And that I hope that you carry it with you for as long as you journey and as far as you journey. And know that this connection that you have made today by adding your name to the Shacharit Kabbalah, to the chain of tradition that has come before you, is a link in a chain that will remain unbroken. That is our hope. That is our prayer, and that is the opportunity that you as Bar Mitzvah have given us as a people. I'm going to ask you to step down off that box. I know you like being tall, but you're not.
But you will be.
And I'm going to ask your parents to come and stand behind you and place their hands upon your head. I'm going to ask your brothers to come around and give you some shielding for when we have some lollies thrown a little later. And I'm going to join with Rhonda in offering this threefold blessing for you on the occasion of your Bar Mitzvah, a blessing as old as our people itself. May God bless you and keep you. May the brightness of our tradition shine down upon you and be gracious to you. Ali, wherever it is that this journey takes you, we hope that it continues to be a place of meaning and purpose, a place where you feel the support of those that surround you today, and a place where most of all you find peace, meaning and joy. And to that we say, Ken Yehi Ratzon, and Mazel As our bimmer is cleared, rather efficiently, we're going to take a moment with Torah out in front of us. Let's see if I can hit that basket. Oh, just missed.
Good job.
Take a moment to recognize that with the strength of Torah there is so much blessing, and we also want to take that blessing and extend it to those in our community who are unwell at this time. And so we turn back to the prayer book, to page 371, as we offer this blessing of healing to those who are unwell and this blessing of strength to their caregivers.
Amen.
Albert Ben Tata, Gabriel Ben Yitzhak Utvora, Annette French, Sue Brown, Rona Zinger, Don William, Nisam Yona Ben Natan Shmuel Vasheli, Or Ben Miriam Uival, Glynis Per, Gabriel Ben Chaya, Vicky Kafen, Adira Bat Rachel, Bella Magid, Chana Bat Dora, Rosemary Moore, Morris Mark, Douglas Simon, Diana Bliss, Morris Elijah, Maya Solomon Ben Rachel, Pam Dean, Jeffrey Noodleman, and Margaret Cochran. If there are other names that you'd like to add to this list of blessing, those who are unwell at this time who could benefit from our thoughts and our prayers, I invite you to share those names either out loud or in your heart as my eyes meet yours. Page 370 as we give honor to the scroll. Continue now with the Haftarah for this Shabbat. It comes to us from the prophet Isaiah. Can be found on page 344 in the Plat Chumash. But will be read by our Bar Mitzvah in translation.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha b'divrim tovim v'ratzah v'divrihem hane'emarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habacher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek. Jacob fled to the land of Aram. Israel served for a wife, and for a wife he kept watch of sheep. By a prophet, the Eternal brought Israel up from Egypt, and by a prophet they were watched. Ephraim caused bitter anger, and because of his blood guilt, his sovereign abandoned him, and paid him back for his scorn. When Ephraim spoke with trembling, he was lifted high in Israel. But through Baal he incurred guilt and died. They had sinned to sin, making for themselves molten images, skillfully making idols, the work of artisans throughout. They speak to them, to the images of calves, which people sacrifice. They offer kisses. Therefore they shall be like the morning cloud, like the dew so quickly gone, like straw driven as by a storm from a threshing floor, like smoke out of a hole in the wood. Yet I, the Eternal, have been your God, ever since the land of Egypt. You have known no real God but me. There is no Saviour besides me. I knew you in the wilderness, in a land of blazing heat. When you grazed and were sated, you grew proud, and therefore you forgot me. So I have become like a lion to you. like a leopard lurking near the road. Like a bear robbed of its cubs, I will meet you and tear away the casing of your heart. There like a lion I will devour you. Wild beasts shall tear you to pieces. You are done for, Israel, for who can help you? Where then is your king? Let him save you in all your towns. Where are the leaders of your towns, for whom you asked, saying, give me a king, give me leaders. In my wrath I gave you a king. In my fury I removed him. Ephraim's iniquity is stored up. His sin is preserved. Birth pains came for him, but he is an unwise babe. For when the time comes, he does not present himself at the birthplace of babes. I will redeem them from the grave. I will save them from death. Where are your plagues, O death? Where is your pestilence, O grave? Vengeance shall be hidden from my eyes. For he only among the reeds shall be fruitful. An east wind shall come, a divine wind up from the wilderness, so that his fountains shall dry up, and his springs shall be parched. It shall pillage treasures, every choice thing. The wise shall understand these things, the discerning shall know them, that straight are the ways of the Eternal, while the righteous walk in them. Transgressors stumble on them. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'emam, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber imkayem, shekol davarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nviim ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdasha ve'lemnocha, lechavod ultiferet. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. And Yishakor. We invite the Torah to rise and the congregation to rise with it as we offer blessings now for the country and for the people and state of Israel. The blessings can be found on page 377. And I invite Jack and Sarah to come forward and lead us in these blessings. We offer first the blessing for our country.
Let us bless our country of Australia and all its people. Let us have dreams in this historic land of dreamers. Let the hot winds from the desert fire our imagination. Let the red soil of the plains keep us rooted to the things that matter. Let the waters of our rivers, lakes and oceans flow into our hearts, giving us depth and understanding. Keep our eyes open to the beauty of this land. May we strive to keep its beauty present and strong. Help us remember those who have lived in this land before us and those who have made it their home in more recent times. May we never be lazy in the work for peace. May we honour those who have died in defence of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they lead with justice and compassion. Let our compassion be like the encompassing coastlines of our continent. May acceptance, kindness and peace live steadily within this ancient and enduring land. Amen.
Amen. Turn back to the prayer book to continue with the prayer for the people and state of Israel.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. We remain standing as we turn back to page 374 and return the scroll to the ark. be seated. You too, buddy. You look fully done. So, Ollie, I have a very important correction to make. Only one mistake in the entire morning, so kol hakavod. You did an outstanding job, but there was one mistake and I have to correct you on it. The Torah service is not the necessary part of the service that precedes the Kiddush. That's the sermon. And out of respect and love for you, I will make it short. Because you looked at me as we were closing the curtain of the ark thinking, when's Kiddush? And I know we got those chocolate croissants this morning, which are just, really special. But our conversations and leading up to the Shabbat, preparing for this Sidra, I find myself thinking quite a lot about Jacob. And particularly there was a sentence or two in your Devar Torah that have stuck with me from the very first time that I heard you share them. Jacob really wasn't a nice guy. Jacob, Yaakov, that individual who became Israel, the person after whom our entire tradition extends. We are, of course, Bnei Yisrael, the children of Jacob. And he wasn't a particularly nice person. He tricked his brother. He deceived his father. Together with his mother, he manipulated the rest of the family. He lied. He stole. All right, nice character. Just the type of person you'd want to be the father of a great nation. Not really. But yet he was. Yet he is. He became the father of a great nation. Now, you suggested in your Devar Torah very wisely that he was able to do that because he persevered. In part, he persevered to struggle through his initial character, to move past his initial failings and mistakes and to become a better human being. And I agree. He certainly did that. He certainly did persevere and he certainly did struggle. He literally struggled with an angel or a messenger or his brother or whichever definition of that being that he wrestled with on his way to Haran. He struggled. And that being changed his name. But in Haran, in Laban's house, in Laban's house, I think he also struggled. And he struggled in a way that I don't think few of us understand and few of us entirely appreciate. But I think it is in a way that is incredibly common to most of us. Because when he got to his uncle's home, and yes, Laban was his uncle, he married his cousins, almost as weird as marrying sisters. He had a metaphorical mirror held up to himself. He, this person who had cheated, lied, deceived, and stole, met someone who cheated, lied, deceived, and stole from him. He, for the first time, experienced his behavior manifest in someone else and projected directly back upon himself. He felt personally that which he had caused his brother and his father and his father's house to experience. And I imagine that in that experience he had something which we call today a bit of an aha moment. Oh, That's what it feels when someone who loves you deceives you. Wow. That's what it feels like when someone who loves you lies to you. Gee. That's what it feels like when someone you care about steals from you. Sometimes we need to experience those things to have sufficient context to be able to actively take that yetzer hara, that evil inclination that sits on all of our shoulders, and knock it off. Sometimes we need to experience that personal pain, which you described as his perseverance, to be able to find the inner strength to overcome our inner self, and to allow our true selves, I should say our outer selves, and allow our true selves, our inner selves, to manifest. Fact is, we live in a world that is not entirely different from that of our ancestors, because the individuals that fell our world are wired the exact same way. Yes, we talk about, devices in the same way that they talked about cattle. Got the latest sheep. But in personality, we haven't changed. It is just as easy for us in the world in which we live in to lie and steal and be deceptive and deceitful as it was for our ancestors. So we have the gift of our tradition. We have these hard-learned lessons to challenge us to be better. We might not necessarily have the experience of having Lavan hold a mirror up to us, but we have this week's Torah portion to do it instead. To challenge us and think, have we conducted ourselves, our life, in a way that we can be proud of? Have we spoken to our loved ones with the care and intention that we're ready to be judged on? Have we acted in a way in our deeds that we're prepared to be judged on? Not because judgment is coming any given day, but rather that we need to be ready for it every given day. There is a powerful lesson in our Sidra. And perseverance is where it begins. But where it extends, Ollie, is in a very fundamental challenge. A challenge as old as our tradition itself. The challenge to be our very best selves, each and every moment of each and every day, even when no one's watching, when no one's looking, and no one's listening. Because then we will know that we are truly honouring our tradition and realising the purpose that we are put on this planet to be. I want to wish each of you a Shabbat Shalom as I invite you to turn to page 586 and rise for the Aleinu prayers. We remain standing for a few more moments as we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us and ready ourselves to offer the words of Kaddish Yatom, which can be found on page 598. We think first of those who have been taken from us in the last 7 days and pray for their memories and ask for comfort and consolation for their families. So we think particularly of the family of Merrill Rood. We also think of those whose Shloshim we are observing as a community. Fega Berenson, Sheldon Cohen, Lynette Dubovitz, Laura Urkel, Sophia Friedman, Robert Klemfner, Adrian Lustig, Edith Selden, Eric Taft, and Lila Vishenskaya. And on this Shabbat, we also add to this list of memoriam those whose yortzites we are observing, as we think of Julian Basser, Kurt Belidek, Nina Caspi, Max Drager, Ralph Feldman, Bluma Holdorf, Zara Joseph, Andrew Kahan, Marion Lawrence, Ray Lieberman, Bertha Melwitt, Sidney Morgan, Peter Nathan, Malcolm Sharman, Roy Sharp, Alex Silbershire, Isabel Slonim, Claude Solomon, and Heinz Ziffer. If you have other names of remembrance that you would like to add to this list of memorial, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. We think of those named as well as those whose names lie deep within our hearts as we offer this prayer about life, as we give thanks for the lives that have lived and that we have lost. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabba, v'amad yivrach Yerutei v'yamlich mochutei, v'chaychon v'yomechon v'cheidachol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru. Yehei Shemei Rabba mevorach l'olam amen. Yiparach v'yishtabah v'yipa'ah v'yitruman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadal v'yitalei v'yitalel Shmei dekodisha, Elam min kol brichata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dalmiran v'amah v'imru. Yehei shlam rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all who mourn, and to that we say, Amen. I invite you to be seated as I ask Joanne to come up and make a few announcements and presentations.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of the President, Rebecca Silk, who is sitting to my right, and the Board of Governance, welcome to TBI. Whether you are here in time of memory or celebration or for Shabbat, welcome. Thank you, Ruach Community Choir, for enhancing our music this morning, and to Joel as well for accompanying you. I have the privilege to present to Ollie this morning, and you can join me, please. And it's extra special to me. I have a tenuous connection with the family through my sister-in-law and your mother from around here. It's also my anniversary of my bat mitzvah, so we share parsha, so that's pretty special. Mine wasn't, recently though. So, Mazel Tov, Ollie, on becoming a bar mitzvah, and to your parents, Monique and Vadim, and to your brothers, Geordie and Alexander, who are tidying up their talit, and also to your grandparents, Alice, Aviva, Claude, and to your many cousins, aunts, and uncles. Ollie, or Sunshine, as your grandmother referred to you at rehearsal, you have led us beautifully in services, laned well, and delivered an insightful drush, reminding us the importance of perseverance, even in the midst of family drama. And this you did in a thoroughly delightful manner and with a smile on your face. I'm going to share a few words about you with the community as a means of introduction, and they're all words that you've shared with us. You are in year 6 at the King David School, at least for another 2.5 days. And time does seem to move quickly, because I have a photo here that I'm going to share with you for when you were in junior kinder at the King David School. So you can find yourself while I speak about you. Yeah. You are the 3rd son to become a bar mitzvah at this TBI congregation. You are a passionate Hawthorn supporter and apparently always watch their games, as well as all the other teams' games. You belong to the 10th Caulfield Scout Troop and enjoy their camps and activities. You play the piano and have had lessons for the last 6 years. So possibly you need to have a conversation with Joel after services. And you love going on holidays with your family. Your mother says that you are funny, as well as frustrating, and stubborn, but always does things with a smile on your face. You appreciate good food and enjoy eating well, and she loves cooking for you because you're quite appreciative and complimentary of her cooking. You're a good travelling companion, and maybe you wish you weren't the third child, but you have a close relationship with your older two, and it's getting closer as the years move on. So I have some gifts here. I think it's this folder. It is. So we have a certificate in commemoration of your bar mitzvah, so I hope you treasure that, as well as a certificate of congratulations from the UPJ, which is our roof body. You are now part of a much larger community. A voucher to next Netzer camp, so in between Scouts and you can go to Netzer, and a book on our stained glass windows, of which your window features in here. So you might like to point out to your family and friends the window over on the left, which is the Jacob's Ladder window. And last but not least, a Kiddush cup, which I'm sure you will use often and treasure. So Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
Right. You take that, and I will assemble. There you go. Can you get another hand? Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, just a few announcements this morning. Tomorrow, the 8th of December, at TBI at 7 p.m, there is a Kristallnacht Cantata. The cantata is, and it says here, a stunning and imaginative orchestral and choral piece commemorating events surrounding Kristallnacht. Tickets are available at the door. In the months of December and January, members from our progressive community volunteer at Sacred Heart Mission, helping to prepare and serve food to the disadvantaged in St Kilda, and they are looking for more volunteers, so please contact Ruben Urban if you are interested. The following weekend, on the 15th of December, we have a book launch. The Co-Chief Executive Officer of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, Alex Rivkin, will be launching his latest book. The title of that is Zionism, The Concise History. That is at 3 p.m. here. Pop-up Shabbat, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for, commences on the 27th of December and runs for 5 weeks down in Red Hill, so please join us there. Thank you to our laners. Today we had Caroline, Ruja, Rabbi Lazaro and Ollie. Please, on your way out, thank our CSG and our Shul protection team who've been keeping us safe whilst we've been davening. And join us for Kiddush at long last, right, Ollie? Kindly sponsored by the Rogelberg family. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And so we finish our service with a final song. It's an oldie but a goodie, Adon Olam.
Oh
join us in Sloan Hall for Kiddush. We have a bar mitzvah boy. We're going to put some, he can choose whether he wants to put wine or grape juice in that cup. His father can choose whether he's going to put wine or grape juice into that cup. As we come on in, we're just going to be beginning in a few moments with the blessing, but please do take some wine or grape juice as you enter into the Sloan Hall. All I need is a ronda and we can start. Otherwise you'll have me singing, which will be terrifying.
It's amazing.
And we begin with the words of V'shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל עתיד לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafet Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Found the sweet spot.
She's getting good. Actually, visit one day. We've been so busy with school.
It'd be nice talking together.
It would be nice, yeah.
Either all come to my house or
Yeah, maybe message us. Message and maybe, because we still have a couple of weeks, one more week of school, and then I have a couple of events at school that I have to wrap up. Then I should be, I should be all right.
all right,
We haven't done